They told her to wait. She waited. She cooperated. She trusted the process. And then she did something that nobody saw coming. She spent $500,000 instead. Here's what you need to understand before we go any further. This is not a story about a celebrity. This is not a story about money. This is a story about what happens when a daughter runs out of faith and decides to go to war. February 1st, Tucson, Arizona. The early hours of the morning when the streets are quiet and the houses are dark. That's when someone took Nancy Guthrie, 84 years old, taken from her own home. No warning. No goodbye. Nancy isn't just a name in a headline. She is a mother, a grandmother, a woman who built a life in Tucson, and someone walked into that life in the middle of the night and took her. Her daughter found out. You know her daughter. Every morning, millions of people wake up and turn on the Today Show. Savannah Guthrie sits behind that desk and delivers the news to the country. But for more than 100 days now, Savannah Guthrie has been living inside a story she cannot report her way out of. If you're new here, we cover cases exactly like this every single week. Subscribe now so you don't miss what happens next in this one. She waited, she cooperated, she trusted the people who told her they had it under control. And then something happened that changed everything. By the end of this video, you will understand exactly what broke her faith, and you will understand why she has not stopped spending since. Because $500,000 doesn't appear out of nowhere. It gets built dollar by dollar on a foundation of failure, and we need to talk about that failure. What $500,000 buys when the system fails you, let's talk about what Savannah Guthrie actually built. Not a tip line, not a social media campaign, an operation. She assembled a private team that includes former federal agents, security experts, and specialist investigators. These are not amateurs. These are people who spent careers inside the systems that are now failing her mother. And according to a source directly close to this family, they are working leads every single day. Now, here's the first thing I promised you, the detail that reframes this entire story. Savannah Guthrie was once willing to pay a ransom, let that land, before the private team, before the $500,000 search fund. She had already looked at a number and said, yes, whatever it takes. That is the woman we are talking about. Someone who decided the moment Nancy disappeared that no ceiling existed on what she would spend to bring her home. So when a second insider told the U.S. Sun that right now every dollar is worth spending if it helps bring her mother home, that is not a grieving daughter being emotional. That is a woman who made a decision on day one and has never looked back. The costs have climbed well into the mid-six figures, and they are still climbing. But here's what you need to ask yourself. What pushed her here? Families don't spend $500,000 because an investigation is slow. They spend $500,000 because something breaks. Something broke. A source close to the family told the U.S. Sun that Savannah felt the family was being pushed further away from the center of the investigation. And then came the moment that ended her trust in the official process completely. She was told there would be no more direct contact with the sheriff. The man running the investigation that could bring her mother home stopped returning her calls. And that is when everything changed. Because once you understand why Savannah stopped trusting the official investigation, you need to understand the man she stopped trusting. And what we found about Sheriff Chris Nanos will stop you cold. The sheriff with nowhere to hide, Sheriff Chris Nanos, is the man in charge of finding Nancy Guthrie. He runs the Pima County Sheriff's Office. His department leads this investigation. Every resource, every lead, every decision flows through him. And right now, Sheriff Chris Nanos has very serious problems of his own. Here is the second thing I promised you, and I need you to pay attention to this because this is where the case changes completely. There are currently 5 documented pressures bearing down on the man running this investigation. 5. 1. Sheriff Nanos is facing a $25 million federal lawsuit. An inmate named Stephen Kenneth Fox alleges that a jail officer under Nanos wrongly accused him of stealing inmate login details. Fox says the accusation put me in a position where I have to fight for my life. He also claims he was physically attacked and left in pain for weeks. Newsweek covered this. This is active federal litigation. 2. Questions exist about Nanos' professional history. Claims surfaced that he resigned in lieu of termination in 1982, earlier than what appeared on his official resume. His office called the discrepancy administrative in nature. 3. Officials referred possible perjury concerns about Nanos to the Arizona Attorney General. Perjury. Let that word sit. 4. Efforts to remove Nanos from office were launched and failed. 5. The Pima County Deputies Organization, his own deputies, publicly called for his resignation in March. Now hold all 5 of those facts in your mind at once. A federal lawsuit, a resume discrepancy, a perjury referral, a removal attempt, his own team calling for him to go. This is the man who stopped returning Savannah Guthrie's calls. This is the man who controls the search for her 84-year-old mother. I need to know what you think. Should Sheriff names be removed from this case entirely? Drop your answer in the comments right now. What does Savannah Guthrie know about those leads her private team is chasing? Because here's what nobody is saying out loud yet, and it's the question that should be keeping everyone connected to this case up at night. What Savannah knows that we don't go back to that phrase, working leads every day. A source close to this family didn't say the private team was looking for leads, didn't say they were hoping to find something. They said working, present tense, active, ongoing. Working leads means there are leads, and if there are leads, someone found them, which means Savannah Guthrie's private team of former federal agents and security specialists has developed something that the official investigation either cannot find or has not prioritized. We don't know which one. And that unknowing is the most important detail in this entire case right now. Here's what we do know about Savannah Guthrie. She is not acting from pure grief. She is a journalist, a professional, someone trained to look at information and make calculated decisions. When she decided to spend this money, she wasn't falling apart. She was building a strategy. If this case matters to you, hit subscribe right now. The moment anything breaks on this investigation, this channel will have it first. Her mother is 84 years old. Every day that passes is not neutral. It is not a pause. It is a day lost. Savannah understands this in a way that most people connected to missing persons cases never fully grasp until it is too late. There is no ceiling on the budget because there is no acceptable outcome other than finding her. She has told everyone involved that the search will continue for as long as necessary. For as long as necessary. If this were your mother, would you do the same thing Savannah is doing? Or would you have done something differently? Tell me below. What no amount of money can buy is time already lost. And so we arrive at day 100. More than 100 days since that February morning in Tucson. And we have to ask, honestly, where does this case actually stand? Day 100 and counting more than 100 days, no arrest, no confirmed location, no public breakthrough in this investigation. State those facts plainly. Sit with them. Because the facts are doing all the work that commentary cannot. Nancy Guthrie is still missing. Savannah Guthrie has become something beyond a daughter now. She has become what families become when the system forces them into corners, resourceful, relentless, and entirely unwilling to accept the silence that gets handed to them. She did not choose this role. The investigation handed it to her, and she accepted it. $500,000, a private army of investigators, no ceiling, no deadline. But underneath all of it, underneath every dollar spent and every lead worked, is a simple truth that none of it can erase. Nancy Guthrie is still missing. That sentence should land like a door closing, because it is the only sentence in this case that matters until the outcome. One question, what do you think happens next in this case? Give me your honest read in the comments. Subscribe to this channel. When this case breaks, and it will break, you will hear it here first. We are not done with this story, not even close.